It's good.
Welcome to Behind the Graham Door. I am your host, Graham Rowett. Joining me today is voice actress Graham Rowett, voice actress Graham Rowett, composer Graham Rowett,
Hey guys.
writer Graham Rowett,
Hey, what's up, guys?
co-creator Graham Rowett, and co-creator Graham Rowett.
Hello, I am Graham Rowett.
Hey guys.
I'm Graham Rowett.
I think the voice actresses need to say hello.
Hello, I'm Graham Rowett. You can find me on my Twitter, Graham Rowett NY. That's NY for New York.
Hello, I am Graham Rowett. I have the same Twitter.
I
That's
too,
easy for you to remember.
and I too am Graham Rowett. I have the same Twitter.
I am Graham Rowett, and you may find me in things such as Red Dead Redemption 2. Also, all over Google. Just look for me. I promise you'll find me.
There are many pictures of me on Google.
All right,
I'm going to go ahead and break that now. Too many grams.
welcome.
We love you, Graham. Graham's not here. I don't know what to do.
I am so glad I took over the Graham rooms.
Ooh.
All right.
Oh, good Lord.
Graham,
No.
you're the best.
Whoever's
we love
listening
you.
to this has
We
no
really
idea
love
what's
that.
going on.
Oh,
We love you,
did we lose
Graham.
Victoria?
No, I'm
she's still here.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
He wasn't
well,
talking, so wasn't showing up.
Oh, sorry. I was changing my light.
this is indeed beyond the door. Behind the door? Beyond. It's the door,
Both of them
and
work.
it's the other side of it, and we are here. Why don't we go ahead and go around and introduce ourselves legitimately? We'll start with our wonderful voice talent. Victoria, where are you from? What else are you doing? And why are you here? It sounds
I
very
don't
cute.
know why I'm here.
Sorry.
I wasn't ready for these kinds of questions.
I got thrown by all the grams.
Oh, I mean, fair. Hi, I'm Victoria Juan. I am from Illinois. Very Midwest, very cold all the time. I narrated the arachnophobia story, and I play the little girl in I Loved My Teddy.
Nice. And our other fantastic voice talent for this episode.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ruth Thomas. I'm a voice actress based out of Texas. And I was the voice for the teddy bear in I Love My Human.
Nice. And moving on to the left there, our writer for this evening.
Hey, what's up? I'm Mike. I wrote the story, I guess, from what they tell me.
The man responsible himself.
How dare he?
Don't blame me for everything.
And moving right along to our composer.
Hey, I'm Scherf. I'm the music composer. I'm from New York, and there's freezing rain outside right now.
Fantastic. And our two wonderful co-creators. Why don't you go ahead and give us a shout?
Hi.
Nice.
A shout, singular.
Hey. How's it going?
Hey man, it's here. It's not freezing rain, so everything's great.
Fantastic.
Yep, I have to say so too. This sucker's getting empty.
Awesome. So we are here for the.
Oh yeah, and hi, I'm Brian Black.
I was just
Oh,
going
yeah,
to
don't get
roll
mentioned
right
my
over you.
name, huh? Oh, I never said my name. Jason. Also
Welcome.
known as Graham Rowett.
Oh man! By the way, to give you an explanation, Graham did make a comment about the Graham rooms last time we did this.
Yeah.
So and I want to make an apology. I thought I was on the Gray Rooms when I did this broadcast, but apparently it's under my name.
Oh.
Oh.
Do we have to do all that again, or are we just going forward with this?
No, people are already logged in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Let's
I
give
guess
up. We'll come back next week.
Well, I can't track everybody's comments in the wonderful video. Without a...
Well, I
Okay.
mean, the link's good. Everything's good. You know, it's just
Perfect.
it's under Brian Black and not the Gray Room.
User error.
I'm just going to real quick type something. Ignore me. We are talking this evening about the episode "I Love My Human," written by, of course, Mike Lee over there, and it was a very confronting episode. That was a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Where to start? I guess we'll start with, where did the story come from? What inspired this event and
Oh.
following fiction?
I guess when I wrote the story, I was in a pretty dark place. Like I just moved out to Austin, left everyone I knew back in Louisiana, and I didn't know anybody out here, and I just needed a vice, and that was that I always figured, stuffed animals are really, really creepy to me, like dolls and moving teddy bears and stuff like that, like the Teddy Ruxpin.
Rockspin. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We used to have one of those when I was a kid. We didn't really play with it because it was up in the attic and old and all that, but it was always creepy to see when we go up there. And I just wanted to make something, a little teddy bear, kind of creepy. And the little girl thing, I don't know. I don't even know where that came from. I just needed a way to relay a killer teddy bear, I guess, and that's how it kind of came out.
Hey, great job, man. Hey, great job.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, the whole thing too, Justin, when I initially started this podcast, I was looking for stories, and I actually saw a tweet Mike put out, and I distinctly remember it said, forgive me, Mike said that he likes to write effed up stuff. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to talk to this guy. And so I sent him a message saying, hey, would you be willing to, donate a story or write a story for this podcast I'm trying to put together? And we got to talking, and I'm pretty sure I said, I just want something shocking and something where somebody dies. And
I think it was something along those lines. Yeah, it was like just give me something terrible.
that might actually been my exact words.
Well, I think in a way you got it.
Yeah, I don't like to write anything that has even like I like tragedies. Tragedies are like my favorite stories. And I like there to be an inkling of any hope for anybody in the end.
Okay.
So,
And does this stray far from other works you've written? Is this kind of, like you're saying, in your particular wheelhouse?
I would say this is probably one of the lighter, more mild sides of the story.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, man. I've got a couple that are on Amazon right now that, like, I have to pick who I tell those are on Amazon because they'd probably judge me after.
That, admittedly, not the answer I was expecting. So good to know.
Wow. Sorry, man. Yeah, Graham has all my mild stories, man. Like,
Nice. So then Jason, you asked for shocking and everything else, and you certainly got it with this. Is this a good marker for how the rest of the season is going to go, would you say?
The thing about the season, it is definitely a roller coaster. This is not going to be the norm. I will say that we don't have a ton of stories where kids die. That's not like a theme that we really wanted to drag out too much. Most of our stories are, this was definitely more of the in your face, cutting up body parts and making you really squirm in your skin. That's kind of how this story is. The rest of the season, it's some of them are going to be a little bit more on the edge. Others are going to be some more kind of a more traditional kind of a horror, like we have a ghost story and all that other stuff, but it's going to be a roller coaster ride as far as quality. Yes, the entire season will be like this.
Fantastic. And for the two who had to bring this story to life with their voices, how was this for you? Let's start with
Sarah, you want to go first, Sarah?
Sure. So Jason sent me the story, and this was months and months and months ago. So it's also really weird hearing it now and hearing it with all of the music, all of the sound effects, with the little girl finally here. So he sent me the story, and I'm reading through it, and I was going, "Ooh, I don't know if I can do this," because I know I personally am very sensitive to that sort of subject matter. You know, if there's like a disclaimer on a movie or on an audio drama or something where they're like, "Hey, if you are of a little bit more sensitive disposition, maybe don't listen to this." I usually heed that. I'm usually like, "Okay, cool, thanks for the warning." So it was very interesting getting into it. And also the very end, I feel like the ending kind of justified the major trauma that happens in the story, for me at least. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can get to the ending of this. And it made for a very, very interesting acting experience.
Okay. And for you, Victoria, how was the role of the little girl?
I mean, kind of the same thing. I was a little hesitant at first. I was like, "Oh, this is real messed up." But horror is my favorite. I mostly do horror narrations and audio dramas and such. So I guess I'm a little bit more used to it. I thought the end, I was like, yes, it's just amazing how she gets revenge. Justice! Or she, it's a teddy bear. It's not gendered. The teddy bear gets revenge, and acting the little girl, it was honestly, I couldn't stop laughing because to make that sound come out of my face is just interesting, to say the least. I think the people who heard my raw audio can attest to there's a lot of laughing, there's a lot of mess ups, and I was like, here you go, just have this. But like, it was interesting. But I think drama that like touches on real life problems, things that really can happen, are the most impactful. They're the most scary because it's something that can really happen. So, I mean, it's like hard to think of that happens, but yeah.
Well, that brings up a good point. Was this rooted in anything for either of you? Did you have a source of inspiration to pull from, or a particular other work or case or something that you kind of looked at and went, I'll pull some of that into this for your performances?
Victoria, I'll let you go first on this one.
Personally, yeah. So I don't know if this is probably bad, but my mom, I was homeschooled for a time. My mom decided to read us A Child Called It when I was a child. And I don't know if anybody's read that book, but it is a brutal book. It is about this little boy who gets just completely tortured by his parents. And I was like, I want to say like 10 when my mom read it to us. So I guess I just kind of brought those feelings up, and that kind of helped.
Okay. And you, Sarah?
I would say, when I was reading the story and I was trying to go, okay, how am I going to give this teddy bear a voice? How am I going to give this teddy bear a personality? I really just kind of rooted myself into, this teddy bear feels protective. This teddy bear feels, so attached. And this little girl is this teddy bear's everything. So, I kind of focused on, how would I respond if, I want to protect this, and I can't. I have no way to protect it, and then it's gone.
So going over to our co-creators, I'm guessing there was some communication back and forth with your voice talent as to direction or particular, I don't know. I guess direction would be the good point.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I knew that when I read this story, even though it says he, I knew I wanted to get a nice, strong female voice in there because it's a teddy bear, and I think it relates. I think it just really fills the character more. And Sarah was actually just really easy. Reached out to her, she took the story, she killed it, knocked it out of the park. I know she had sent me a couple messages a few times on the email saying that, especially around the end, that she was having a little bit of a difficult time with it, and but she did an excellent job on that. As far as Victoria's always just been just really cool, and she did a wonderful job in some of the other stuff that we've done, and I just really like Victoria's delivery. So I said, hey, you want to do this little girl? And she's like, heck yeah. And then she sat there and talked about the behind the scenes reel, and I actually sent her an email, said, hey man, what you did is great. I need some gurgles, I need some crying, I need some screaming from you. So if you could just find some way to send me a reel with just all of these sound effects and everything. And she did. She's like, what was that, Victoria? Was it like 15 minutes long?
I couldn't stop laughing.
It was hilarious. She was just cracking up. And one time your dog came to save you when you were screaming in there. Yeah. So
my dog was trying to rescue me.
And that was probably the only real direction, was asking Victoria to, kind of help me fill the just this gnarly background with all these extra sound effects and all that kind of stuff, just to really kind of gut punch it. Because you know what? They're professionals. They can read it. They know that it sucks, and they just dug deep down inside them and just pulled some friggin' gold out.
I think that it should be worth noting that we keep killing Victoria. I mean, I feel bad about it. Maybe one day we'll give her a part where she doesn't die. Maybe we owe it to her.
Then it wouldn't be the Grey Rooms.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Victoria.
She's become our screen queen, I guess. Right?
Very nice.
I mean, I'm not mad about it.
You're doing a great job, both of you.
Okay, so that kind of brings up some other points. So there was some excellent sound engineering and music work in this episode. How was that to bring about?
I just, the sound engineering is just real short and sweet. I just knew that I wanted this to be just all about the teddy bear, and everything else was kind of more of just the three-dimensional world that's around the teddy bear. Everything else just kind of happens to be there. And then the girl was also, a main focal point, but not as much as the teddy bear. So again, I just kind of built on more of the teddy bear's experience on it, everything else like that, as far as the music and stuff. And then, JM came in, and he just scored that and killed it, man. I think that the emotion level went up to like 65 when he added that in there, because, he's obviously exceptionally talented. So I'll leave the composing up to Mr. Scherf there.
Oh, well, the composing. So, he sent me the file. The first half of the podcast was already had music to it. Yeah. So I came in at about 12:30, right when the bear realized she could move. I think it's right around there.
Yeah, when the bear wakes up and realizes that the limbs and everything are back on.
Yeah. So
how did I heal?
Yeah. So I went with this is a magical story. I mean, there's a teddy bear that came to life. So that's how I first thought, I got to go with a musical box, because when you think of like a little kid and innocence and stuff like that, you think, you hear like the music box, and using that in the beginning when she was happy with the little girl, and it seemed like everything was going to be okay, and then taking that music box and kind of like screwing it up a little bit and having it as the main theme while the bear's on a killing spree. I felt like that's the first thing I thought when I was listening to it.
Okay. So the writer, having now listened to all of this being put together, how do you feel the job was done? Do you think it was great? How
I think
the match? What was in your head?
No, all right. Well, first, the way she voiced the teddy bear kind of surprised me, because when I was writing it, that's not how I heard it, but it sounded so amazing. I was like, yes. I immediately agreed. I was like, this is way better than what I thought.
Thanks.
And secondly, like that, I don't know, like from the very start, it felt like the massive flow of emotion that I knew the story was going to have was there from like the first minute of it. I'm incredibly impressed. I'm extremely satisfied.
So I do have another question for you, though. Is this a common occurrence in this world that you've created?
What? What? What part?
Stuffed animal coming to life and seeking justice or protection. Is this a common thing?
No, this is the first stuffed animal that I've ever written about being alive. I do like creating monsters. That's one thing I love. But no, this is the first stuffed animal. Honestly, I hadn't even thought about writing another one since then.
Okay.
Well, if I may, Mike also was the writer for the very first preseason story we had, Falling. The one where everybody will recognize, I'm pretty sure we'll recognize our main actor was falling out of the sky. That was a Mike Lee story. And, that was up until recently, that was still one of our most downloaded or popular stories. But just for everybody in the room here right now, this story is our most successful one by far. By far.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, great work, everybody.
Over 3,000 downloads on the first day, guys.
Wow.
So how
That's
was
awesome.
Falling? Like, how did that come about? Have you done much jumping?
No, actually, I had no clue what went into skydiving until Graham was like, "Hey, can you write a story about someone falling out of a plane?" I was like, sure. And I went, I researched it, and honestly, researching for that made me want to go skydiving, and
Wow.
it's on my list now
No.
to go do it.
No.
Like, I mean, it's
You
not
gotta
as
put your
scary as.
Graham mask on and do it.
Yeah, no. If I do that, I'm just doomed.
I mean, he's already written about what could go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, but I learned, like, there are so many fail safes and redundancies to skydiving that the story that I wrote is just completely worst case scenario.
Hey, Mike,
But-
I don't know if you know this or not, but I do listen to podcasts in my full-time job, and I do listen to a podcast called Case File. And this guy mentioned on there, I don't know the exact episode, but that happened to somebody in Australia. This guy jumped out of an airplane. Somebody, of course, somebody had cut his lines. So when he pulled his chute came out and took off, and it also took his backup chute with it. And when they had the other chute that was supposed to kick out the thing that's supposed to fire it off.
Yeah, that emergency.
Well, he realized that wasn't going to happen. And they say in there that guy fell for like 20, 25 seconds and realizing he was going to hit the ground. So well done. You didn't know it, but you actually you talked about a thing that actually happened. So,
and this is something that happens to the great rooms all the time.
Yep.
When Candace did the
Your
spider
spiders.
thing, it was crazy. People were breaking into museums and stealing spiders and all kinds of stuff.
Man. That was insane. Like for the next 2 weeks, there was spider story after spider story.
Many spider stories.
Oh, wow.
And like every time I would get an announcement on Facebook from from our emotional support room, and it was a spider story, I would just go, nope, I can't.
Yeah,
I am not looking forward to the stories where the bears come to life.
Treat your stuffed animals well, and more importantly, treat your children well.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, treat your kids well, man. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
I
Or
love
will
you
be
so much.
disarticulate.
I love you. Please don't kill me.
Beady little eyes.
that's awesome.
Nice. All right. So, horror is a wonderful and broad kind of world in which we all exist to one degree or another. I'm wondering, what are all of you most excited about either in this episode or in the rest of the season? What has brought the fandom and this podcast together for you. If that makes sense.
Well,
Start whoever's good.
yeah, I guess, I mean, what brought the podcast together was a really screwed up dream I had about a decade ago. And then my wife saying, you better do something with this or I'm going to write a book about it. I said, okay, fine. And so there you go. Now we're here. But the most exciting thing for me about this podcast is, you know what? There's not one story that I can really say that's going to single itself out. I have had the opportunity to work with some of the most talented people I think I will have and probably will ever meet in my entire life. Some of the best authors, some of the best voice actors and actresses, compositions. I mean, JM's music is ridiculous. I think that guy needs to put together a CD and we'll sell it on our website kind of thing, But I'll rock and roll, man. Yeah, but it's like, I think that the most exciting thing for me is when this season is over, because I want to experience it alongside all of you. And then I want to get us ready for season 2 because me and Brian are already stirring the pot. And I'm thinking that season 2 is going to make season 1 look kind of bad.
And meanwhile, Sarah Ruth is like,
I don't know.
No.
I'm just looking forward to dying so many more times.
Yeah, there are a few stories where I'm just going, man, things aren't looking good for me. Any of myself.
Yeah, I want to say though that I think I had a huge hand in picking a lot of the stories out that we had, and I was begging a lot of writers to kind of submit stories that
yes, he was.
We were kind of looking. I was doing sort of a grassroots kind of thing. And finding, different authors that were interested in doing it. And I do think that it is an extremely, gratifying situation to be in when you see people's reactions to stories. I'm just looking at YouTube alone. There's people saying, I love Falling, so much suspense. I enjoyed Falling a lot. Brooks Bigley, all my favorite people on one screen. It's more than just, somebody writing a story, somebody, putting sound effects in it, somebody putting music in it, somebody voicing it. It's, there's a community around it. And that to me is an amazing thing. When we have the people working on the art and people are saying, I love this art. It's my favorite art. I love this. And then another guy says, I'm going to animate this art. And just to see it become a thing. Even for us joking around about T-shirts in the last one became a thing. People were buying T-shirts. People were saying, oh my gosh, I want to buy a T-shirt now because of this. I mean, it's just neat because, horror isn't just a bunch of weird people going around watching people slash people to pieces and whatever. It's just another type of thing, just like Star Trek or anything else that people, they have something that they like. If the stories are good, they're going to, gravitate toward it, and they support people that, it's like one big family to be a part of. And
yes, sir.
We've all appreciated that. And it's Jason and I, we go and we have conversations, Graham too. And then I talk to people like I was talking to Victoria and Sarah, and I was talking to JM and Mike, and it's just amazing, getting together. It's a huge thing, and it's really fun. It's really, really a fun time for everybody.
Well, that actually brings up a question we've got in the chat from Maria Herrera. What is the thing you want most to come out of this podcast? And that's for both you and Jason.
I just wanted to continue. It's because of our lovely patrons. This podcast isn't self-funded. It pays for itself now. And because of our patrons and everything else like that. So, other than that, I just want to see how far we can go. I want to get as much exposure to authors and actors and actresses who may not have had the opportunity. There's some freaking talented people out there we're never going to ever hear from. Why in the heck not just take this podcast and who knows where it can go? So what do I want out of this? Let's just keep going. Let's just keep the wheels running, man. Let's have fun. Let's just keep going.
When I was growing up, I think I remember we had a music teacher who'd take these vinyls for horror stories and put them on. during like Halloween time. And I remember one, there was like this old man and he was like, "Who's got my skinny toe?" And stuff. And if you look on YouTube, you can actually find that, the skinny toe. And it would terrify me, but I loved it because they had sounds, they had the music to it, and it was such a production. And growing up as a kid, I feel like outside of that, we didn't have podcasts because we didn't really have high-speed internet and iPhones and things to listen to and all that.
Yeah.
So this is amazing to me to be able to see what happens on it. I love the idea of the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and things like that. So I want to be able to see what kind of stories people submit to us. The season 2 is open to submissions till March 1st. We're still looking for stories. So give us your horror stories. I mean, you can be the next Mike Lee and make everybody throw up, or you can
Yeah.
or you can do all kinds of things. I mean, but really, I mean, it's just fantastic. We want challenges. I personally, look forward to maybe getting some other subgenres, maybe a fantasy horror, maybe science fiction horror. Arthur Unk's probably like, "Hey, mine was sci-fi." He's in the chat room, but really, that's give us all kinds of things, and we'll turn them into masterpieces, and it's going to be fun for everybody.
Thanks, Brian.
It was pretty good.
Sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but I did
No. Look, hey,
grow up.
I feel like
I
I feel like I've accomplished something whenever someone says I couldn't finish your story or I don't want to read that again. That's throwing up is perfect.
Both of your stories have made my wife cry. So, there you go.
But she cried too with that anthology.
Yeah.
So I don't think that one's going to end up on the Grey Room. So.
Yeah. Well, Mike, you made my mom cry.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Now I'm starting to feel bad about it, guys.
Well done, Mike. Well done.
68 years old, Mike. She's 68 years old. What's wrong with you?
Hey, what? You got something coming for season 2, Mike?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, Pin's coming.
Oh, you're gonna submit? Coming. Oh, shoot, that's a good story. I'm looking forward to that one.
That one's coming, and then I've got a few more that I think I might send you, but they're only in their first draft right now. So.
Oh yeah.
And I'm super lazy and super always working.
Oh, I feel you there.
Yeah, all right.
Got another question from the room, or for the room, from Arthur Unk, and that is, what is everyone's favorite horror movie? Let's start with Victoria.
I've got so much crap for this in the No Sleep podcast, but like my first horror movie ever was The Haunting, which was like a version of The Haunting on Hill House, which is new, but like from 1999. But that and Psycho, those are my two favorite.
Oh, okay. Nice. And Sarah.
My favorite horror movie is Cabin in the Woods, just because I like how it takes a stab, and I like the sarcasm in it. It appeals to so many levels to my brain, because the first time I watched it, I was like, I can't believe I'm watching a scary movie. I'm such a wimp. But oh, this is good. This is good. Okay, I see what's happening.
Nice. All righty, Mike.
Oh, I'm going old school with the Thing, the original.
The original one.
Yeah, you can't top that psychology that's in it. Like who could it possibly be? It could literally be any one of us. And it's just awesome. It gets to me every time. Every time.
Just messes with you.
Yeah, it does. Actually, I think Graham and I had a whole conversation about that movie and about how the new one is nothing compared to the last one.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, Kurt Russell is great.
That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, it's just Kurt Russell.
Thing, Overboard.
Yeah,
legend.
Big Trouble in Little China. Come on.
Oh, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're remaking that, and I'm not sure I'm happy about it.
Oh no, don't say that.
Man.
Oh, you just killed the mood, man.
It's in production. JM.
Yeah, there's a lot, but my favorite slasher is Jason Voorhees. I grew up with him. Freddy Krueger. Those are the ones in the beginning. But like my first horror movie, and it's still one of my favorites, is Gremlins. And I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like
And it's a Christmas horror movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Festive.
All right. Jason.
It's kind of funny that JM said Friday the 13th. That's Jason's always been a big favorite of mine, because we kind of share something there. And but my favorite horror movie, and I've said this before, and I'll always say this, the one that really sticks to me the most is Evil Dead 2.
Wow, yeah.
I love Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it's a great one.
All righty, and Brian.
No,
Favorite horror movie.
I'm gonna go with I'm going with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
The new one, that was pretty horrific. Yeah.
But really, I didn't want. I mean, The Thing is probably one of my favorites. Aliens, I love those sci-fi horror movies. I got to go with Mike Lee on that one. Seeing that dude's chest cavity open up when he's ready to zap him.
Oh, what? And when the tendrils are all like.
Yeah. I had my wife watch that for the first time, and she jumped on the couch screaming at one point when the head became like a spider and its legs are crawling around and skittering everywhere. Oh man, she was like, ah! Like she couldn't handle it. It was more entertaining to watch that.
Y'all are talking about John Carpenter's Thing, because I thought you were originally talking about The Thing, like the black and white movie.
No, not the.
Oh no.
It was like
John Carpenter should have been very specific on that. Sorry.
That's okay. But yes, equally creepy. Very creepy. Ugh.
Oh, if it's back to me, I don't know that I have one. I might take the easy road and just be like, no, I don't have one.
Did anybody ask Victoria?
Weak.
Yes. I would say the original Night of the Living Dead. I think has a special place in my heart. It stemmed a lot of my interest in horror as a larger genre and of zombies overall.
Yep. Tell me that wasn't terrifying, man. Those people trapped in a house. They have an entire walk. I mean, granted, they're super slow. The George Romero original zombie super slow. What did you think of the remake in the 80s, the color version?
I didn't mind it so much. I have a wonderful way of kind of separating films. So remakes are just their independent thing. So in my brain, it was fine. Zombies are of course, it's the slow, ever-present death made manifest coming to get you. It's not going to wait for you to show up. It's coming for you, and it doesn't sleep, and it doesn't wait, and it doesn't care, and it doesn't feel. It's going to eat you, and that's always been that thing for me.
Well, that was creepy.
That was
well
good.
done, Justin. That was
wow.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable.
I mean, you can outwalk them, but I mean, eventually they're going to catch up because you've got to stop. They don't.
Yeah. You're probably going to trip over nothing.
Don't go up the stairs. It always gets you in the end.
It always gets you that absolute nothing you're going to fall over.
Like half a millimeter rise in the pavement.
Yeah, that's it.
It's happened, guys. It's happened.
Okay, so I am unfortunately out of questions that I had.
I think there was another question in the chat room for us. I think somebody in the chat asked.
What is everyone's jobs?
Oh, that's a good one. Where do you get your money, and how does that supplement your talent? Wow. We all want to know. Brian, let's start with you because I've got your face up. What do you do for work?
Well, I ask for money on the street now.
I mean,
he does. I've been on the.
I might. I don't know.
It's pretty sad, actually.
I work in the shipping and receiving office for a metals company, so I'm actually, put me. They actually give me the responsibility of setting up trucks and dealing with people all day. So it's fun. I mean, it is what it is. It's not as fun as writing, stories and dealing with this stuff, but pays the bills.
Awesome. And you, Jason?
I am a United States postal carrier, slipping and sliding around on your driveways right now.
Oh, you guys are underappreciated.
Go to the store. Just stop going to Amazon. Just go to the store, please. Just do it for one day. Just try it.
Nope.
Just try it, please.
I've got my.
I literally did all of my
That
shopping
requires
on Amazon.
pants. Going to the store requires
Did you say it
pants.
requires pants?
Going to the store requires
Oh my
pants.
God.
Amazon requires pajamas. I'm sold.
I mean,
Okay,
you don't even
fair
need
enough.
that. You
I
just need to
yield.
show up
I
at a
yield.
computer.
What?
Hey,
I'm actually a sanitation worker. I pick up recycling, and I will also say stop ordering things because I pick up a lot of cardboard this time of year.
I love them.
Come on, man. That's job security.
our devious writer friend here, Mike.
I am a bartender
I could see it.
in the great city of Austin. Super fun. I love my job.
Austin! Yay, Texas.
Go
You
out
know,
and
I've
get
noticed that
drinks.
you don't have a
Have fun with your
jacket on. That
bartender.
sucks.
I mean, no, it's really cool right now. It feels
Is that
good
about
out here.
73.
actually.
What is it about?
No, I think it's mid 60s right now.
Oh,
I remember those temperatures. They were a while back.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I started to slip and slide out.
it's better in Louisiana from where I'm from. We get like 3 days of cold in Louisiana, but out here it's actually nice. It's like spring right now, and I love it.
All right.
Hey,
Louisiana's kind of weather that you don't even need a shower. You just kind of lather up real quick and run outside. It's like that, right?
Oh,
Really,
no.
truly.
No.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Mike, while you're up there, Arthur was asking, what else have you written instead of horror?
Oh, good catch.
Oh, I do write comedy every now and then. I love writing comedy. It's the guys at work call me a walking one-liner, so it happens.
I could definitely see that from your stories.
Nice. Okay, Sarah, what do you do for work?
So I voice act as much as I possibly can. And then I also work as a waitress. So
Oh, hey,
All
I do
of us
that. It's my
creative
second
types.
job.
there we
Yeah.
go. You got to put in your dues at some point. So,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I do voice act as much as I possibly can, and I have several ongoing gigs that help out a lot. So
Very cool. And Victoria.
I currently work for a help center. So like very, very low level IT, but I work from home, so I'm not stuck in a cubicle all day.
but your tweets
Cool.
are the best.
Really? They're
Your
just me
tweets about work.
complaining.
Well, I mean,
I
they're
feel it in my
entertaining.
soul, though.
Yeah, it's still customer service, which can be interesting.
Absolutely. I also work for customer service and inputting clerical stuff for a body jewelry company up in the Northwest,
Ooh.
which I refuse to name on air. Alrighty. Brooks has another question in the chat to bail me out of having to do any of that stuff, which is which parts did JM score in the episode? All of it?
No, not all of it. Basically, at around 12 minutes, 30 seconds, when the bear realizes that she can move. From that point all the way to the end, that was all me.
All
It
right.
was
The best parts.
Yes.
the most fun parts, I guess.
I do want to
Yes.
say, since with the questions and stuff, I don't have any. I just wanted to show my face. No, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Me, I want camera time.
I wanted to make a comment about Jason. I thought he did an amazing job with what he was doing with the sound effects, something I've never heard in our podcast before. When the mom and dad, which was Jason and his wife, by the way, we should give
So
Chris-
fresh.
we have kids. We have
Yeah.
a kid. So
yeah. That's exactly what I hear on the phone whenever he's yelling at his kid. No, I'm just kidding.
it's pretty close.
But no, but the thing is like
Sorry,
the parents were in another room and he did that muffled thing. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And also the inner voice for the teddy bear, she couldn't communicate, obviously, but she still wanted to real desperately. And the way he kind of made that echo effect, I thought that was really fantastic. I thought that was outstanding. It made me want to like lean closer. Like, come on, you can talk. I want to hear this. You can do it, little bear. But it didn't work. Thanks, Mike. But
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hurt my heart. Hurt my heart. Yeah, because Brian messaged me. He was like, "Hey, the internal monologue is really, really cool." And I was like, "Okay, I can't wait to hear it." And then I heard it. I went, "Dad, gummit, Jason, I feel even worse now." Ah, she's trying.
Infinite frustration.
Oh.
Well, my favorite part was the sound that I found online where somebody was chopping a steak with a dull knife, and I used that. Yeah, so that was my favorite part. I just wanted you guys to know.
No,
Merry
you know
Christmas,
what?
Happy New
I
Year,
listened to that. I listened to that before half of you guys.
Yes, he did.
And my wife was with me, and we wanted to throw up. I mean, it was just like 5 minutes of, you know, and it was like, right to the bone. You hear it scrape at the bone. It was nasty. It was so bad. I said, Jason, you got to do something with this. You got to like kind of shorten it or something. I can't. It's gonna make people sick. Like you can't.
Well, and I can remember when I was narrating what was going on, and also having to sound very into it, Mike. And she talks about the teddy bear's talking about, you know, the dad bleeding out and like the blood and the fat froth bubbles. I can remember like hitting pause on the recording, just going. Okay, and then got back to recording it, and then I'm listening to it, and there are these sound effects, and I'm just going, oh gosh.
How many people here have trouble listening to people eat food?
Oh my God, I can't, not even half a second of it.
Oh, if you want torturous audio, I've got the link to share to you.
I've been known to tell complete strangers to stop smacking their food if I'm in a restaurant.
Gift
like
that
it
keeps on giving.
5 minutes of nothing but, I think, 6 people in a room eating potato chips. Directly into microphones.
No.
It's gorgeous audio, and it's just horrifying at the same time.
You know, that stuff right there with the proper EQ makes really good bone-breaking sound effects, by the way.
I've been working at it.
Just figure I'd let you guys know that, just in case you're wondering.
May I just say just real quick, because I know earlier the question was thrown out of, you know, when did you start getting really excited about the gray rooms of like, oh, this is all actually happening. And early on when I was first talking and getting to know Brian and Jason, they emailed me. This was the first script they had actually sent to me. And I'm reading through it and I'm asking my questions like, okay, how do you want it to sound? What do you want this? You know, how should I format everything? And like both of them were just super, super sweet and really nice to talk to. And I'm just going, oh man, these guys are too nice to make a horror podcast. This is.
He didn't know us too well at all. He did not know us too well.
And so I'm talking to them, and yes, they're wonderful, lovely people. And I'm just like, man, these sweethearts, this is okay. Let's see how it goes. And then falling happened, and I went, yes! All right! This is actually going to be something. So that was just, I'm sorry to steal the camera. Hello, folks. I wanted to be seen. But that was the moment that I went, okay, this is going to be good. This is going to be real good. Oh.
You know, that's really the surprising thing. I found that a lot of horror productions do have some of the nicest people in them. Mm-hmm. And it's just community-wide. It's always great.
Just like good stories.
Well, that's kind of leads me to something that I think we kind of talked about. Something we wanted to discuss was, you know, one of the things that we deal with in creating this podcast is choosing which stories to take. And as we kind of discovered, some people were a little bit taken aback naturally by the story and the subject matter that it was dealing with. And I think the one thing I wanted to say about it is that we aren't specifically looking for stories that are going to constantly, you know, not even push the envelope, but, you know, rip it in half or something. You know, we're not looking for stories that always are going to just crush people on every level of, you know, their existence. Things like, you know, abuse, you know, towards, you know, specific types of people, whether it's kids or women or whatever. I mean, any of that stuff that happens in a horror story, the first thing we look at is the story itself. We're not just trying to shock people. We're not, I mean, there are definitely places where, you know, there are writers that want to just, you know, shock and use tons of gore, and that's their version of horror, and that's fine. But for us, we want to tell a good story first and foremost. And I think that, you know, what Mike Lee wrote was something that was an extremely powerful thing. Yeah, it had some extremely comfortable situations in it. But if it was just a story about abuse and there was no development of the characters, there was nothing in there that we thought, would make for a really great story, I feel like we wouldn't use it. And I think that we've been talking a lot about ways that maybe we could rectify this. We've been talking to a lot of the writers for the first season of the Grey Rooms. I have a group on Twitter that I kind of grouped them all together, and they've been, kind of giving their thoughts on it. We've been talking to Facebook and other people. And so one of the things that we talked about was we are going to do some kind of release when the episode starts to kind of remind people this is a horror podcast, and that there are certain things that, they should be, considering when they listen to it. Whether we go further, I think we're still kind of discussing, but I think it's important to know that with a horror podcast, I mean, Grandpa eyes are going to be involved. Sorry for all of you that are just listening. Earlier in the show, we were doing this thing where we had all these masks with Graham Rowett, and then now Jason is scaring the heck out of me. But yeah, but it's serious. I mean, we really do want people to know that I think our sin in that episode was we didn't warn anybody. And I think just to go thinking like, okay, last story was, about war and rats, and that's cool. And then all of a sudden, like, you're hearing, parents beating and murdering their child and then being sawn in half by a bear. Yeah, I mean, I can see how, you'd be a little bit confused. So I do, we are sorry for not warning anybody about it. There's some episodes that you're going to hear that are going to have some interesting things in there that you're going to be like, that might, if you're sensitive towards certain subject matter, you might want to avoid. But ultimately, I think, our focus is telling you a great story, giving you a great production, and scaring the heck out of you, and maybe making you have to change your pants.
And from this time
That's our
forward,
goal.
we're actually going to make sure from this point forward that we actually apply some kind of a warning to our stories, because, like Brian and everybody is, really I didn't even think of doing that. That's my fault. So I apologize to everybody out there that was rattled. That I take the full blame on that. That was me that did that. I didn't even think of it. But from this point forward, we will definitely be putting a warning on there, so to speak. We're going to have just one that pretty much says, like, hey, we deal with adult content. And then if it's going to be an episode that we deem might really sink the bus, then I think that we're gonna make it. We're gonna give you the option to kind of opt out, so to speak, if you would like. So don't worry, we're not here to, like Brian said, we're not here to try to grab you by your soul and shake you completely down. But it's horror, so we're definitely gonna try everything we can to impact you. But yeah, if anything, we want to tell good stories. We don't want to friggin' ruin lives or make people just feel just dirty down inside. Well, I mean, maybe a little bit. But yeah, so from this time forward, we're going to have disclaimers on our stories, just to let you know what's happening. So thanks.
From the chat, just play a happy song while you read the credits.
Grey Rooms 1, the horror of learning.
Well, keep in mind here, one of the best happy song moments in cinema, as far as I'm concerned, is in the movie Face Off. So now, are you thinking that you're listening to a happy song and we're just rolling credits, or are we having a gun battle in the background? I can make that happen.
I'm thinking of happy songs and Clockwork Orange and just going.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking too. I still can't listen to Singing in the Rain.
Ugh.
Oh no!
Can't.
They let us watch that in high school in a film class.
Film
Holy
studies.
shit.
Yeah,
What?
no, same here.
Language.
Yep.
Did you watch that in high school?
Yeah, I didn't know I didn't know what was happening. I was like, is this
Holy
porn?
crap.
I love film study classes because they just throw stuff at you and you're just like, wait.
I was unprepared.
Oh man, yeah. What else? One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
That's a great one.
There's Ratchet. I wanted to jump out. I wanted to jump into the screen and just like I was so angry at that lady. Oh.
So I can remember the first time I watched that movie. I'm like a third of the way through it, and like I get a text from my mom, and she's just like, "Hey, what are you up to, hun?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest." And she goes, "Pause and find a recovery movie for when it's done." I'm like, "That's
a good mom. That's a good mom.
Good advice.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah."
It's
She was like,
lively.
"Enjoy it, but have a recovery movie ready."
Well, since Sarah was the one talking there, and her face was, everybody got to see her lovely smile, and everybody got to hear her. I just wanted to do a little bit of a spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
She's in the next story.
Oh, I am? Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
The next story is you. So
Oh, man, I get
back
back to back. Oh.
And actually, also for anybody else that wanted to fully hear everything that JM would be doing for us, he is doing an entire production. He'll have the entire production. Gosh, Brian, was that the fifth story? Is that the fifth story that one is? Yeah, it's the fifth story of the season. And
Ooh,
which won't be until the end of January. And also keep in mind too, guys, if you look, I'm just gonna throw this out here. If you're looking for some like holiday music stuff, you guys should go check out JM's website. You guys should go check his stuff out. He's got some really cool Christmas stuff. Hey, JM, you got any like super dark, twisted Christmas stuff I could possibly get from you?
Never occurred to me to write it, so it's coming
next
up
year.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah.
Grey Room's Christmas special, y'all.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh man.
So Singing
Revenge
in the
of the
Rain's
Elves.
got to be in that one.
Oh my god.
Something about Krampus, please.
Nuclear Holocaust.
Call it Clockwork Great.
Everyone will die.
I just had that mental image of all of the Gremlins Christmas caroling, and I'm like, that's us right now. That's where we are.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I have always wanted to
what
write
do you guys,
a holiday
outside of the
story.
great rooms, what's going on? What are you working on there, Justinthulu? Why don't you tell everybody about your projects?
Well, I do quite a bit of stuff. Currently, I am working on getting Hooks of Horror, my podcast that I'm doing solo, off the ground a bit more than it currently is. I'm also expanding in the voice acting genre business stuff. I've got parts with Victoria and Sarah Ruth coming up here in 2 productions. Eventually, Calling Darkness, and I don't know if we're supposed to mention the other one yet, so I'm just not gonna. I think, it's just the best place to find me and everything I'm doing and everything I end up spouting is probably on Twitter and JThulu Photo or Hooks of Horror. I don't know. I'm everywhere. If I'm excited about it, I'm attempting to get in on it and get my voice or my work out there somehow.
Which, by the way, we appreciate you doing this, and also we appreciate your support, brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm thankful that you guys gave me the opportunity to come in here and talk with and at you.
Yeah.
Hey, I actually made Justinthulu do SpongeBob's theme song on Twitter one day. It was pretty sweet.
Oh right, right. I forgot about that.
It was pretty awesome. What kind of projects you got going on, JM, outside of the Grey Rooms?
Right now it's mostly Grey Rooms. There's a lot going on, but I do still write stock music, and I try to keep up with that in between episodes right now. That's pretty much what I have time for right now.
Yeah, great time of year, brother. I know.
Yes,
I feel you, man.
Mike, you got some stuff going on.
Oh yeah, my band Broken Machines. We're trying to get out there. We're going to be on Copper Heart with these 2 wonderful ladies right here, Sarah and Victoria.
They're fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, we're working on our first EP. Almost done with it. And then I'm just gonna give up everything forever and just do music. So
there you go.
Yeah.
It's living the dream. That's
life
awesome.
goals.
What are the
life goals?
What are the this episode has 2 people or 3 people to end up in the same podcast? That's crazy.
Yep. Oh yeah, Graham's gonna be on it too.
Voice acting is a very small world. We're a very warm and inviting world, but Also a very, very small world.
It's been a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun getting to know all of you. Finally get to talk to you, Justin. I've seen your name 100 times since I've been involved in this. Sarah, finally getting to talk to you other than email. Victoria, we've talked before, but it's always a pleasure. It's always an honor.
No big deal. No big deal.
Brian, I talk to all the time when he's in the Wendy's drive-thru. Yeah.
I'm actually tired of Wendy's now. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna sit in my car and talk to Jason.
Jack in the Box.
Jack, oh man,
we don't have those here.
Have to go there.
We
we
don't
don't have those
on
here,
the East
man.
Coast.
You don't? Oh my!
No. I know. Why don't you send me an Amazon box full of that stuff, and I'll
Oh,
We want you to live.
that could be a horror
What are you
story in
talking
and of itself.
There it is. Actually, that's a good idea. So, and then of course, JM, also not just scoring the episode, but everybody who listened to this, when they listen to the intro theme, always keep in mind that JM wrote that.
The theme is amazing.
Built the theme.
Thanks, guys.
And
Yes.
that theme is popular
Yeah.
AF, man. People love what you did there. So he gets mad props for that. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw myself under the bus on this. JM called me out on it. But for some reason, when I was doing the closing credits on that story, I did not include him at all. Not only did I not include him, I didn't include the artist. Both of them. I don't know. I suck. I don't know. It is what it is. It is.
I like how you said
But that was the early release.
I said both of them.
three
Cassie
fingers.
and mediocre. Yeah.
Both. Hey Sarah.
John.
Oh, and then Mike. And always, Mike, it's been a pleasure talking to you, brother, too, man. It's finally
You
great
too.
talking to you.
I'm glad I finally get to meet everybody. I was beginning to think y'all were just letters.
We're Russian bots.
Yeah.
Russian sex bots, man.
Oh,
Sorry, Sarah. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Sorry.
Man, we need to get a new job then. That's the case.
I'm sorry, Brian. You asked Sarah a question, and I'm sorry.
No, I was going down the line there, and then you just started your own thing, but that's okay. Sarah, what kind of projects do you have coming up there?
So Victoria and I are both in Copper Heart, which is an audio drama coming out beginning of next year. And it's going to be pretty exciting. I'm pretty thrilled for it. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. It's going to be pretty fabulous. And then we just wrapped up season 1 of The Beacon, and we are working on season 2 right now, which is another audio drama. That's a little bit more in kind of the young adult fiction fantasy type world. And then there are some really cool projects that I'm working on right now, but I'm currently under non-disclosure agreement. So I'll get back to you and I can talk about them. Stay tuned. I'm leaving you with the cliffhanger.
Who knows? Maybe in 2 weeks we'll know.
What? No way.
Well, no,
Sam, what do you think about that? I don't know. Maybe in 2 weeks she'll be back.
Where did Graham get a weird accent, man?
Yeah, I mean, he's still stuck in the Great War.
It's the rats.
And then he went Australian. I don't know.
Hey, Victoria, would you like to tell us what kind of projects you're working on?
yes. So I am on the Creepy Podcast. I do Patreon narration. So if you're not already donating, do that. I am also in Copper Heart, obviously, and it's going to be fabulous. It's like a sci-fi world, but there's a lot more coming up. It's really, really cool. You guys need to keep an eye out for that. And
Follow
then
their Twitter.
yes, absolutely. It's an entertaining Twitter, honestly. And then Calling Darkness, I'm co-creating with five other women. Can't do math. 5 other women. And we have the writers of No Sleep Podcast, 2 of them, S.H. Cooper and Gemma Amore. And it's amazing, coming out beginning of next year. And then same with Sarah, a couple of NDA things that I cannot talk about, but I'm very excited about. So, yeah.
Nice.
I'm probably forgetting something.
Coming soon to a something near you.
Yeah,
Talk
exactly.
about it.
Nice. Hey, Jason.
Ha.
I want to know what you thought of when you discovered that we went over 3,000 downloads in one day.
Throw up, scared. Holy crap! Absolutely wonderful. You know, that's awesome. But that's a testament of, you know, you, Brian, putting it out there, like telling everybody what in the heck's going on, and the story Mike produced, sent to us, the content that it was. JM just taking that and just turning up this. Oh my God. Boy, I remember he sent me a message, and he said, I am having such a hard time with this story. And I felt bad for him, but boy, did he just killed it. And then of course, Victoria.
I got nauseous listening to it.
Yeah, Victoria and Sarah, man, oh man, just hitting a home run. And yeah, when we hit 3,000 downloads, you know what? I've been saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. We have the greatest people in the world they get the honor to work with, and we're going to hopefully continue to work with, grow, evolve, maturate, and become something just ridiculously wonderful to be a part of. I use the word wonderful loosely, by the way, on some of these things. But I think that the Gray Rooms has definitely found its place in the horror community. People recognize that we have wonderful people. We deliver a good, high quality experience. And 3,000 downloads is just the beginning. But congratulations to all of you, because that was almost 3,200 downloads on the very first day on this story, which makes it the most popular episode we've had all time. That's all of you. All of you. So, and all of our patrons and our Twitter followers and our Facebook page with the gosh dang it, what's that called, Brian? Emotional support group.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
thank you all. So it's gonna be great. By the way, forgive me. I'm gonna kill my video feed on my. I'm gonna go put my phone on the charger. I'm gonna be listening. I'm still here. Sorry.
I do want to say, we do have a Facebook group at the Gray Room Pod, or the Gray Rooms Pod. Sorry, there's more than one. But we have an emotional support group. It's what it's called. It's our little community based off of the Gray Rooms, and it's feel free to join it or get in there and strike up a conversation about how you feel about the episodes. Tell us what you think. We have Twitter at the Gray Rooms Pod. Just at the Gray Rooms Pod. Man, I suck at this. But join us on Twitter. Talk to us. Tell us how you feel. We so far, 5 stars. All kinds of great, nice, happy reviews on iTunes, things like that. But don't be afraid to tell us what you thought. Especially like for some of the people that were telling us about their concerns about the episode they listened to today. We like to hear that stuff. We want to know what you think. That's how we're going to grow. And so that's great. And I wanted to thank Justinthulu for being our guest host. He has a Christmas party to go to, so we probably should wrap this up.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by the comments questions.
There's more?
There are.
More.
There's a group question. Where do you see the Gray Rooms next Halloween, with you being ranked one of the top horror podcasts this year with just the pilots? And kind of threw me a little bit. It's like, wow, look at them go.
I'm hoping to see a giant ensemble Halloween special. If we could make something really big, I think it'd be fun.
Nice.
But that's just me.
Can do an exquisite corpse story with all the writers from the season. That'd be cool.
Ooh.
That'd be really neat.
You could always have the warden, doing something like that. Maybe a Russian roulette or like a wheel of fortune type thing, and he turns the wheel, and then somebody has to pop up and suffer.
A whole bunch of little.
The Gray Rooms does an anthology.
Yeah, that would be so great.
We did talk about it. I don't know. It just depends on the other writers and what they want to do. And then, but season 2, we'll look into that stuff. We don't have a lot of free time to start working on things, but we do got some plans. We've already been talking about it. One thing, I haven't heard anybody really talk about, what's going on with Raymond in those beginning little stories there, and what he's been dealing with. But, I mean, I haven't heard anything. I don't know if people hate that storyline.
If we have to suffer, Raymond has to suffer.
Yeah, everybody loves Raymond.
You suffer because Raymond is suffering.
Yeah, it's true. But I haven't heard anything about it, really. So
that's because Raymond sucks, and I'm sorry. I'm going to watch some YouTube videos to get better at
it. Technically, it's the writer who would suck, for Raymond, and you're just a victim of that.
Nah, man, you want to know something? In my personal opinion, I think that the stories for Raymond are excellent, but honestly, I loved my human was a soul-squelching gut punch. So I really do think that it kind of may have pulled a little bit away from the Raymond, because everybody's still like they're still drinking the water, wiping the sweat away, and pulling the Band-Aids off from the just whooping that we gave them. So it was brutal, man. It was brutal. I'll admit that. Like, I remember I still listen. I listen to that at work, and I still cringe when I hear this story. So I get it. I get it. It was brutal. The next one's not as bad, guys. I promise.
Although I am kind of dreading to hear what Raymond has to go through at the beginning of the episode, since it's now looking like he's kind of tapering off at the end of each episode. Because at the beginning of this one, he had the rats, and now I'm like, Raymond.
Yeah, he's gonna be recovering. He's gonna be recovering in episode 3. And we'll see what happens. Every story, he's gonna wake up and be like, "Oh my God!" Just like the audience,
Yeah. Oh, we've got another question for the creators.
Looks like you've got the pyramid. Where did the name the Gray Room come from?
Me and my wife were laying in bed, and I was literally now. Don't even open up that one, Brian. FaceTime.
Pillow talk, huh?
But we were just laying there, and like the story I wrote down. This was the story I had 10 years ago. I woke up. I woke up in a 8x6 or 8x8 small concrete room, light, chair, table, door. A voice was telling you to go through the door, so I went through the door. You go into the exact same room, 2 doors. And the one thing that always stuck out, not just the horror aspect of it, but the fact that it was a concrete room. The gray room. That's it, rooms.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly waking up and going into different rooms and all that stuff. By the way, no spoiler alert on that one. You die, wake up, die, wake up, die.
Is that what happened? What?
Yeah,
Man, I was wondering.
And don't forget, we have the holidays coming up, guys.
Yeah,
so
that's
die,
right.
Wake up, die, wake up, die.
Live, die, repeat.
I think the Raymond story is a great vehicle to introduce all these other stories. It's instead of just opening an episode and saying, okay, here's the new story. It's a great way, and you're wondering like what's going to happen to him. I'm not privy to any of that information, so I'm genuinely
no idea.
I'm
genuinely curious about that.
Yeah, I like that it makes it just this one ongoing. It's part of a greater story rather than just being an anthology series. There's something connecting everything. So
right.
I think that one of the questions that was in your little list of questions there, Justinthulu, was how these things kind of fit into the big picture of it. These stories we have.
Right.
Ultimately, they don't. In terms of an anthology, like they're separate, they're standalone. But one of the things I started doing was wondering if maybe there was a way to tie in Raymond's background to some of these stories and maybe make something out of it that there really isn't. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
I think some of our listeners are doing that. I think they're trying to fan theory, like how does Raymond fit into every story? Because I've seen a few comments and I'm just going, I don't know either, but this is fun to read.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I can promise you that at the end of the season, you'll know. So keep listening. And yeah, we love you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thanks a lot. I'll get out of here. Go.
So
You can just
Be
close
free.
this browser right now.
anyways, again, thank you all ever so much, Mike, for the wonderful story. JM for
Yeah,
obviously
no.
being a talented composer and musician. Justin, for your support and for you doing this. Miss Sarah, Miss Victoria, I'm sure that at least I hope I have the opportunity to talk to you very, 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 very much many more times in the future. I don't know where I was just going with that. My English just kind of fell. I'm speaking verbal diarrhea here, whatever. And then
Word vomit.
Brian, you know I friggin' love you, man. Yeah. So, and all you out there, the patrons, Twitterverse, Facebook, all of you, thank you. We wouldn't be sitting here having this right now, enjoying these. I guess I use the word enjoying loosely, but enjoying these terrible stories without your support, because we do it for you. Seriously, it's a lot of fun. So thank you ever so much, and be ready to hear what we bring to you next week. It's a great one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us, man.
Oh, yeah. And, just want to say we miss Graham. So if everybody wants to grab their little Graham faces there.
Grams unite!
This is all I have. I don't have a Graham face. I have a Deadpool
Oh.
face.
Well, yeah, that's just
Look at
Deadpool
that
wearing.
smolder.
It's just Deadpool with it.
It's
Oh,
Deadpool
Victoria
wearing-
has Graham
Graham
in the
with Deadpool's
eyes.
mask.
Underneath,
Yeah, so
though, underneath.
Oh, what? Look at Victoria.
print it out.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
that's
is super
cool.
creepy, and I decided to add this extra layer of weirdness.
Holy
So enjoy.
Horrifying.
Enjoy that one.
It's horrifying.
Oh man!
Your
So
Halloween
what we did
costumes
was
are
we all
awesome.
printed out pictures of Graham Rowett's face, and we created the Graham rooms where everybody was Graham, and he's probably going to be like shaking his head so fiercely right now.
Yeah. We love you,
We love
Graham.
you,
We do it because we love you, man. We love you. You're absolutely wonderful.
All right.
Graham's a big part of this too. We couldn't have done it without Graham too. So thanks to Graham.
Yeah, and when Sarah isn't on here, we're going to do the same thing with hers. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
just-
so
But I
can
get
we
to
do it
come
next
back
week?
and then. Well, am I some next week or something? I don't know.
No,
Not next
next 2 weeks. Oh, she's gonna be here. We can't do it then.
Ha!
yeah.
So then you can do it after I'm not in an episode. So
Okay.
there are
Yeah.
plenty of mocking pictures for you to choose from.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
a Justin next week.
Ooh.
There you go. Yeah,
Ooh,
pretty
there we
sweet.
go.
Yeah,
We
send
should
me a
all
nice
grow
little
Justin's
headshot.
beard. I love that beard. We just need to grow it.
I
Oh
can.
man, I had to cut it down like a month ago. It was a horror show. It's nowhere near
Oh,
the
it's so
beard
nice.
that it was
I don't know.
once.
I'm kind of swooning over the voice a little bit. I'm like,
Really?
that baritone claw is going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Deep silk.
Well, again, thanks,
you're gonna
guys.
make me
Greatly
blush. I
appreciate
don't know how to handle compliments. Take it back.
Oh, also, thegrayrooms.com. If you want to submit your story, just go there. Or you can go to submissions@thegrayrooms.com. We really want your stories, man. We want to have these stories to read so we can start getting ready for season 2. It's also the same if you are a voice actor or actress, hey, or you know somebody, casting at thegrayrooms.com. Please just come on down, man. We want to expand this universe and give everybody opportunity. And yeah.
What's the
pretty much it.
deadline for submissions?
March 1st.
By the way, if you look
Thanks,
at Victoria and you look at JM, they're wearing some beautiful gray room swag.
I know.
Look at that.
They're sharply dressed.
Oh, I'm falling.
And Sarah's got the key. She's
I
got
have my
the
key.
All right.
Potential terror right here.
She can open up any door in the gray rooms with it. So don't throw your key away. It's pretty amazing. You can watch people die all over and over and over again.
Ah, shoot.
Yes.
Everybody's
got hers.
green.
All our keys.
Very nice.
Oh, I didn't see Victoria had hers. That's sweet.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah, it's mine.
I think to
right
bust
over
one
there.
out.
All right, guys. We all ready to wrap this up. Everybody want to say goodbye?
All right.
All right. Bye.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for tuning in, guys.
Waving for an audio format.
Have a good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been great. This has been a treat. You are all fantastic people.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank
So are
you.
you.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you guys. And I'm going to hit the stop broadcast button. Here we go.